So the Phoenician Scheme was written and directed by the great Wes Anderson, the great mind behind Fantastic Mr. Fox. You have The Grand Budapest Hotel, Moonrise Kingdom, just to name a few. I mean, Bottle Rocket, Royal Tenenbaums also. This guy, like, you can tell, like, when you watch one of his movies, you can tell that his signature is written all over it. And our main character in this movie is a wealthy businessman, Zaza Corda, played by the impeccable Benicio del Toro. Corda appoints his only daughter as sole heir to his estate. As Corda embarks on a new enterprise, they soon become the target of scheming tycoons, foreign terrorists, and determined assassins. Which, for 1 hour and 40 minutes, there is a lot going on here. Benicio del Toro is at the center of all of this nonsense, and everybody wants to get a piece of this guy for some reason. And I'm not explicitly going to get into why Corda is as rich of a guy as he is, because, I mean, with him at the center point, he is the most fascinating character of the big village that we meet along the way, and it's well warranted. And Benicio del Toro is very good in this movie. He is absolutely the heart and soul. He carries this thing. It is far and away the most electric performance out of everybody you get in this. And for a Wes Anderson movie, again, this cast is jam-packed. Tom Hanks and Bryan Cranston are both in this movie, playing some Sacramento tycoons. And they challenge Benicio del Toro and a friend of his to a game of horse, which admittedly is one of the funniest scenes in the movie. And that's another thing, like, you just take one look at the Phoenician Scheme, you take one look at the opening minutes by itself, with how the scene is directed, where the characters are placed in the frame, how the scene is framed, the cinematography, the colors, the shot composition. No one else could have directed this movie other than Wes Anderson. And I feel like if this story was put to the screen by any other director, it's possible this could be one of the most boring features all year long. But Wes Anderson still finds a way with his gimmick to make it interesting. But you have Benicio del Toro, the young actress playing his daughter, Mia Threapleton. I really hope I pronounced that last name right. She was really great in this as well. You also have Michael Cera in this, and I haven't seen Michael Cera in anything in a really long time. And I thought he did really well with his performance. He plays a tutor who Benicio del Toro's character suspects is a spy. And that whole trio, the dynamic between them is really interesting. But I think it's when you add all those other elements into the fray. Like, I know I just praised Tom Hanks and Bryan Cranston being in these scenes together. That was super surreal. But even when you throw that element into the mix, when you throw Riz Ahmed into the mix as this prince that they meet along the way, when you throw in Scarlett Johansson as the cousin, when you throw in Benedict Cumberbatch as the uncle, everything just feels like a jumbled mess. And that, I think, is the big problem with the Phoenician Scheme. For 1 hour and 40 minutes, there is a lot going on, and the pacing of this movie really does not match the energy that the actors and Wes Anderson are throwing into it. And I don't know if I'm the only one who thinks this, but is the Wes Anderson formula and his whole style, is it getting stale to anybody else? I don't know if it's the story or how this movie was presented. Like, it's not a bad movie per se. I can at least tell you that this movie is miles better than Asteroid City, which came out either last year or the year before. That movie sucked. It was so boring. And I'm not gonna lie, there were parts of this movie that felt like, you know, if this were kind of deleted, it wouldn't really change the main crux of the story a whole lot. That's another thing. I feel like this story being told in movie form, wrong medium. I'd actually love to see Wes Anderson with all of his zany ideas take over television. The Phoenician Scheme, I feel like, would have been a very entertaining miniseries. Because think about it, Wes Anderson gets way more time than he's given in a movie quota to really tell the story he wants to. Because you can tell that that story is in this movie. But to me, I really don't think it reaches full potential. Like, there were a whole lot of elements that were being thrown into this Wes Anderson soup, if you will. It was almost too many flavors clashing with one another. Like, certain elements of this story worked with the main trio that we have. But then there's other little vignettes that are thrown in there that are like, huh? And I'll be honest, yeah, especially since COVID, like, Wes Anderson really hasn't put out that next great feature. I honestly can't remember his best movie since The Grand Budapest Hotel. Maybe Isle of Dogs. I remember really liking that one. But, like, I miss the Wes Anderson of the early 2010s. I miss the Wes Anderson that gave us Fantastic Mr. Fox. Because even though there's a lot of good things about the Phoenician Scheme, there's a lot that are holding it back from me calling it a true Oscar contender. And that, to me, is the Wes Anderson I feel like I miss the most. Because when Grand Budapest Hotel came out over a decade ago, everybody was looking at that movie saying, that is that man's best movie. For sure. And it was nominated for a bunch of Oscars that year. And he just hasn't hit that lightning in a bottle in a really long time. And it saddens me that I have to say that. It makes me sound like a huge hypocrite as well, considering how much I praise the craftsmanship of this film. But I am just waiting for that next Wes Anderson movie that is more substance and less style. But I'm going to give the Phoenician Scheme a C+. Again, nowhere near top tier Wes Anderson, but I don't think it's bottom of the barrel either. Let me know what you think. Do you guys like the Phoenician Scheme? Did you guys happen to check it out? What is your favorite Wes Anderson movie that's out right now? As always, I love getting in front of this camera and talking all things movies with you guys. Hit that subscribe button if you're new and tap on that thumbs up as well. Feel free to follow me on TikTok as well, where I also post the First Thoughts videos. Thank you again so much for tuning in, my friends. Y'all are the best. And with all that being said, Back Talk, commence.